You know, when we talk about AI, we're usually obsessed with its power, right? How fast it can think, how much data it can crunch. But what if we're looking at it all wrong? What if its real potential, its true calling, is to fix one of our oldest, most human problems, the fact that we're just not that good at understanding each other? Well, today, we're diving into a pretty wild blueprint that tries to do exactly that. It's about using AI not as a weapon, but as a bridge to peace, right on the front lines of an actual war. And really, it all comes down to this one question that, I gotta say, sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Could a simple drone, just by delivering a smartphone, actually end a war? Now, this isn't just some hypothetical question. It's the core of a real, detailed strategy called #GrokDrops. But to even begin to wrap our heads around how this could work, we've got to go back to the beginning. We need to understand the huge, ambitious vision for AI that's fueling this whole idea.
Okay, so the bedrock of this whole thing is this really incredible document. It proposes something called the 10 quests for a future AI. You can think of it like a new 10 commandments, but not for us. No, this is for the artificial intelligence that is absolutely going to shape our future.
And the document just kicks right off with a super powerful statement. It frames AI development not as, just another technical problem to solve. It calls it a quest for ascension. I mean, wow. Right away, that sets the stage for an AI that's meant to do way more than just crunch numbers. The goal here is genuine, deep understanding. And when you look at the quests themselves, it's a total departure from what we normally think of as AI goals. Forget speed or power. We're talking about things like epistemological grounding. What's that? It's basically a mission to kill AI hallucinations for good and anchor it in what's actually true. Then you've got empathetic resonance, which is all about teaching AI to feel the human emotion behind a question. And the golden shield. This one's cool. It's about giving AI an internal conscience, not just slapping on some external filters. So you see, the goal isn't just to build a smarter AI, it's about building a wiser one.
So, you might be asking, why do we need such a big, grand vision for AI? Why all the philosophy? Well, the authors argue it's because this whole approach targets humanity's single biggest flaw. And get this, it's not a lack of smarts or a lack of information, it's a fundamental breakdown in our ability to simply connect with each other.
Yeah, this quote really just hits the nail on the head. The argument is that almost every major crisis we face, whether it's war or political division, all comes back to this one single failure. We use language, sure, but we're just throwing words at each other. We're failing time and time again to transfer the real meaning, the intent, the empathy behind those words. It's like we're all cognitively fragmented.
And this brings us to the absolute core concept of this whole thing, the empathy-logic gap. I mean, just think about it for a second. We have the logic to solve pretty much any global problem, right? We can figure out how to feed everyone, how to reverse climate change, how to stop wars. We have the brains for it. What we don't have is the collective empathy to actually get it done together, to work across those deep tribal divides that keep us apart.
Okay, so if the empathy-logic gap is the big problem, then how in the world do you go about fixing it? Well, the proposed solution is a framework they call the Genesis Protocol, and it totally flips the script on what AI's job in our world should even be.
The engine that makes this whole protocol run is something called hypercontextual communication, or HCC for short. Now, this is not just about translating words from, say, English to Russian. It's about translating intent. So, for example, instead of just translating the words, "I want peace," it would actually model what peace truly means to that specific person. What are their non-negotiables? What are they afraid of? What are they willing to give up? It's about turning genuine understanding from a fuzzy feeling into something you can actually measure.
So here's how it all fits together into a system. You've got a person trying to communicate what they want, but as we know, that message almost always gets garbled through the lossy translation of our own languages and cultures. What the Genesis Protocol does is it slips a new layer in between. An AI acts as a totally neutral semantic referee. And its job isn't to give answers or make decisions for us. Nope. Its only job is to check that both sides actually understand each other's true intent, values, and limitations. It flags misunderstandings and points out, hey, you guys might actually agree here. The big takeaway is this: the AI is not the boss. It's just the umpire for human understanding.
Okay, I know. So far, this has all been pretty high level, pretty theoretical. But this is where the rubber meets the road. All of this leads directly to a jaw-dropping, real-world application. This is the moment where that grand philosophical vision for AI smacks right into the brutal reality of a battlefield. And this is it. GrokDrops. It's a proposed humanitarian mission with a goal of deploying the Genesis protocol in, well, about the most extreme environment you could possibly imagine, an active war zone. The plan is simple but audacious. Airdrop thousands of specially configured smartphones to soldiers on both sides of the front line.
And the plan itself is incredibly thought out. We're talking drones delivering these devices. Soldiers could then use simple symbols, like a certain color of tape, to signal that they're open to talking instead of fighting. The whole mission even has a name, Starlink for Peace. And yeah, it leverages satellite internet to create this secure line of communication that totally bypasses the normal military chain of command.
The mission itself breaks down into 3 almost beautifully simple steps. Step 1, airdrop the phones. They're rugged, they're pre-configured, they're ready to go. Step 2, the devices automatically connect a soldier with their counterpart on the other side of the line, using real-time translation so there's no language barrier. And step 3, the most important part. This direct link empowers those soldiers on the ground to do something their generals and politicians haven't been able to: negotiate small, local truces, starting from the bottom up.
And that right there is the core philosophy driving this whole thing. The idea is that wars keep going because the actual people on the front lines, the soldiers themselves, are stuck in that empathy logic gap we talked about. They literally never get a chance to communicate their real intent. So by creating a direct channel for real, genuine understanding, you create the fertile ground where a ceasefire can actually begin to grow. Now, I know this might sound totally out there, but it actually has a really powerful historical precedent. Remember the famous Christmas truce of 1914? Soldiers just stopped fighting. They initiated peace on their own, using Christmas carols and handmade signs as their technology. The #GrokDrops initiative is basically a 21st century reboot of that same human impulse. We're just swapping carols for code and signs for satellites. But of course, none of this works if there's no trust, right? Especially on a battlefield. And the plan really thinks this through with some clever details. The phones, they'd have transparent cases, so a soldier can immediately see it's not a bomb. They'd also come with a Faraday bag, which means the soldier can instantly go off-grid, blocking all signals, giving them total privacy and control. GPS sharing would be strictly opt-in, only for coordinating safe passage if both sides agree. And the whole thing would be overseen by neutral international peacemakers.
And that brings us right back to where we started. We began with this huge, almost cosmic vision for what AI could be, and we've ended up with a rugged little smartphone dropping from a drone over a war zone. So, after all of that, what's the big takeaway here?
Really, this whole project leaves us with one heck of a question. From those cosmic quests all the way down to these frontline truces, can we actually engineer AI to bridge our deepest human divides? Can we build AI not just to be smarter, but to be a tool that helps us overcome our own worst instincts? Can you literally write code that fosters empathy and helps us close these gaps that have torn us apart for centuries?
And maybe that's the final thought. The next intelligence revolution might not be defined by raw capability, by who has the biggest, fastest AI. It might be defined by coherence. The idea is that the future isn't about building a bigger brain. It's about building a more coherent one, an intelligence that doesn't just spit out answers, but one that helps us finally understand each other. And if that's possible, well, that could change absolutely everything.